Well, good morning, my little potato chips. How you doing? It's wee Paddy from across the shuck, and I'm coming back at you with another wee video today. I've had about 4 days off. I apologise for those who were expecting more. I was going to do them, just didn't get round to it. Um, Updating the shingles, still got the blooming things, but there we go. What I'm going to talk about today, Pete over at Jersey Knife Guy, please go and see his video. I'll try if I can to put the link, but if not, I'll put the channel name down below. Go over and see his channel. He done one on his Bokers, and it got me thinking. I haven't done one of my Bokers for a while myself. I've only got the two now. I've had other Bokers, and I have to say, every one of them, the fit and finish, like Pete said, is fantastic. These are the two I've got now. It's the Boker Barlows. And you know I like a Barlow anyway. And it's funny, I was doing this video about this here, and my last video was about do you change your mind? And I was saying in it that I don't collect one pattern, maybe 3 or 4 or 5, 6 of that same pattern. And before I done this video, I was having a wee look up. I forgot what steel this was. I knew it was a carbon steel, but I forgot what it was. So I was back in looking at it on Heine Haynes, and they have one on there, which is another Boker Barlow in green canvas micarta and 440C, which I love in a blade. I've had one of their older models of that before. Well, it's not an older model. It's just a model they do, a basic black and silver bolster in 440C. But this one's a different model anyway, besides the point. And I just said, oh, I'll have to get that. I'll get that next month. But my knife for next month was a Boker, and it is the Boker club knife, but I wanted the silver blade. Heine didn't have them, but I've seen them on Moonraker, so I'm going to, hopefully at the end of the month, if I've still got it, and I've saved enough, I'll get the Boker club knife, because I really do love that knife. Really, really love it. But if I can't get that, I'm going to get the other Boker Barlow, which means I'm starting another sub-collection of Boker Barlows. This is the knife game. It just confuses me. I say one thing one week, another thing the next week. And I think, if we're honest, probably a lot of us do that. You know, you said, no, I'm not going to buy any more of them. One comes up and you see and you go, oh, I've got to have it. But there we go. Let's talk about these knives. This is the first one here. This is beautiful. It's in bog oak. Beautiful bog oak there. And I have just noticed there's bits of green coming in between the scales, between the wood scales are not just smooth. You can actually, there's slight grooves in there. I'm finding, I'm not doing a very good job of telling you what this is. I'm finding the figuration of the wood leaves grooves in the handle itself, and there's green coming in it, and it's like the green you would get from iron. I don't know, I've never noticed that before. It's only just now. I tried wiping it off and a bit of it came off, but then I wonder if that comes with just sitting in a bog for all them years. Then they bring you out of it, and this is what you get. This is what happens when it comes out. But I'd never noticed it before. If anybody else has, please let me know. But look at the fit and finish in this post. Lovely slim knife, very, very light, beautiful bolsters, nickel silver bolsters on this one. Brass pin, well, no, they're not brass pins actually. Looks like more stainless steel pins, but there we go. Here's the blade, and this was the first one I got in the spear point, which is a style of knife I love. A spear point gives you that little bit of belly, gives you the point for, you know, prodding into the boxes, the bags, whatever. Beautiful little knife. This knife is about a 3-inch knife, just over 3 inches maybe, but it gives me a 4-finger grip and a sturdy grip. Again, that high ricasso, which I love because that gives you a bit of safety just in case you were to snap back and hit the blade, it ain't going to stick in you. So I really do love that. And Boker have made a lovely job. They're incredibly thin. So never mind your fancy modern blades. This will cut and slice anything as long as it's the size that this can do. But it is a beautiful knife to hold in hand, knife to throw in the pocket. Well, I would put it in the slip because I just don't like the bolsters getting all scratched, but doesn't really matter. I could just throw it in the pocket. These are about 90 odd pound over here in the UK. So they're dear. Boker are dear, but you're paying for what you get, they're much better than Case Fit and Finish. They're not quite, in my opinion, up to GEC. Peter has a different opinion, and that's lovely. I just love the fact. But for me, I think they're not quite up to GEC standard, and more on their handle materials and the different blade styles you can get. Boker haven't got a huge amount of styles that you can buy readily. But listen to that retention on that. It is absolutely perfect. It bangs down. Centered, absolutely. I'll show you it that way. It's probably best. Really hard to do centering on these things. There you go. It's centered, not bad. It's not touching, nor anywhere near touching. There hasn't been, and I've used that quite a lot. But beautiful knife. Sorry, I meant to show you the blade. Look at that. Really heavy acid wash on that. And I think it might have been tumbled a bit too. Can you see that on there? It's beautiful. You have a lovely long pull. Really is a lovely, lovely, for a work knife that you're not going to notice anything you do on it. And this has been used a lot, and you can't tell a thing on it. You just genuinely can't. Beautiful knife. So let's put that up there just to get it out of the way. And this is the second one, and this one I just genuinely love. This was a special edition, and this one was number 153 of 325 with a brown micarta. This was Knives and Tools, I believe. Is it Knives and Tools? I think it was one of those European companies. That I don't know. I don't know. I must have got this in a swap or a trade, because I certainly didn't get it from the company. But this is one of their exclusives with a brown micarta. This is an older one. The newer ones have the black, the tree, the oak tree that was outside. Was it oak tree, or I can't remember what the tree was. But anyway, it was outside the Boker factory. The silver was the older one, and this was last year's. I think they started with this, or maybe even this year. But I think it was last year. So this is nickel silver, beautiful brown micarta. It really is lovely. Let me get you a bit of a close-up of that. It is really well done. Fit and finish again, absolutely perfect. Perfect. And this was an 01 tool steel. So it's a real good knife if you want a hard worker. You're going to get the retention more than you'll get in C75, because it's not a particularly edge retentive carbon steel, but 01 is a tool steel and a fantastic edge retention for a tool steel. Do you know what I mean? It really is beautiful. And this has a full shiny blade, an absolutely near mirror finish on it. There you can see my camera. It is an absolute cracker of a knife. I love this. Really do love it. And I'm so glad I got it. But as pocket knife goes, these are about the perfect size for me. And I'm going to put some comparisons in between them now, just to let you see. I'll put them as even as I can get them there. And I have some comparisons. I've got an old George Wolstenholme, which is probably somewhere from the 40s, 50s. Just a synthetic scale. I'm not sure what it is, but it is literally a fraction bigger, and literally just a fraction, maybe a tenth, if anything. But it's another beautiful Barlow, one that I'm really happy to have. Oh, sorry, happy to have in my collection. Here is the boy's knife, which is the basic Barlow version for GEC. Again, this one's just a little bit bigger. These are just over 3 inches. This one's about 3.5. So if I get them lined up, it's just a little bit bigger, maybe by 1/4 of an inch. But it gives you an idea of what it looks like. This is the boy's knife. Now, here's the smaller version of that GEC does. And I'm just going to set that in there. And it's a fair bit smaller than it. But again, nice little pocket knives, either one of them. The nice thing I like about Barlow's is that, yes, you can get your hand right round them. You can get 4 fingers. Well, I can. I have a large hand, so medium large hand. It's not very fat, but I've got a large hand. That's that covered. But look, would I recommend you go for a Boker knife? As Pete says, you're not going to get better fit and finish for the money because they're somewhere between, and I think they're perfect in the market because they're somewhere between Case and GEC, but they're more readily available and the price is somewhere between. Now, once you go up into the Boker, the other one that I want, which is the Boker club knife, it's about £130. You know, and I buy my GECs from 130 up sort of way over here. For most GECs, it's 130 up, 130 to 150 average. Sorry, it's maybe gone up to about 170 now. But anyway, they're in between the two. And for me, they are much better than Case, but just not quite GEC. And that's my opinion. It's solely just my opinion. It's not that I'm not doing it to cause controversy. It's my opinion. I love the clip point because I just love a clip point anyway. But a good working knife in the C75, which sharpens in a couple of strokes, well, you can bring it back even. You don't even need to sharpen it most times. Stick it on a strop, it comes straight back. Beautiful. The 01 tool steel, you might have to put a little bit more work in it, but not a whole lot more. It is, again, a beautiful knife. I haven't really used this. I've done cut tests with it and I give it a quick strop, but I haven't really used it and I should use it more. But if I'm going to go for the Boker, I tend to go for this because it doesn't show anywhere. And I just love that. Now I'm going to get the other one, the other clip point in the other Barlow that I'd seen. Whether I get it this next month, I doubt it. But if I can get that club knife, that's what I want. And then I'll show the club knife against these. It's a bigger knife and it's like a 35 pattern, if you know what GEC is, the equal end pattern that the beer and sausage knife was on. It's that kind of pattern. So that's what I'm going to get next in Boker. And, you know, Pete's right. I need to buy more of these because they are so good. They are so easy to recommend because they're consistent, and it's what Case is not at the moment. Now, you know I love Case, and all the cases I have in there are of great fit and finish. Absolutely no, I wouldn't, every one I've got about 11 now, I think, and they're all good fit and finish. But most of them have been hand-picked or picture sent or from friends. So I do know, and I have had before, some really ropey Case. But the ones I've got, when you can pick and choose, you can pick yourself some great cases. Boker are just genuinely that next level up because you very, very rarely see a Boker with a bit of gapping or, you know, bad edges. Look at the edges on these. They're just absolutely cracking edges on them. They're so thin you can hardly see the edge. There's not much of an edge to see on there because they're so thin to put an edge, it's probably, that is probably a very shallow edge. But because the knife, I can't remember what they were, but because the knife is so thin, really thin blades, they really do give you that slicing ability. But this being an 01 tool steel is really tough. And so is the C75. People tend to think the carbon steels are lesser knives. They're not. They're very tough steels. Carbon steels are very tough for hard use work. So that's a bit of a rant on something. I don't know what it was going off on there. But there you go. There's my two Bokers, and it's surrounded by other pretty knives that are in my collection. I love Barlows, and sorry, this is the electric boy's knife, which is the smaller version. And look at that there. I didn't even notice it. There's a wee bit of rust there, right? That's maintenance day tomorrow. There we go. Take care, everybody. Paddy's way. All the best. Bye now.